The world is a varied and wonderful place, and in this episode of The Travel Bug, I'm taking you across the globe to show you a truly diverse mix of destinations. It all starts in one of the most remote parts of Australia on the Tiwi Islands. Here I'm joining forces with a charity to learn about the plight of the locals and do something to give back. Then it's off to England to visit a castle and see how the other half live. From there, my travels take me to Germany, where I learn some driving skills from a pro before checking out Sydney's Chinatown and getting a cooking lesson. Finally, I'm exploring the interior of the island paradise of Rarotonga. This is an episode of contrast that brings together many of the best experiences I've had travelling the world.
Most holidays are all about doing new things, new experiences, new food and seeing new people. On this trip, I'm ditching my Travel Bug shirt and I'm donning a Red Dust shirt. Now I'm going to go and help out in a small Aboriginal community. This trip is all about me being able to give back and help out in some little way.
The place I'm heading to is called the Tiwi Islands. It's a remote destination in the far north of Australia, and the only way to get there is via a light aircraft or the weekly barge service out of Darwin. It's this remoteness that makes it such an incredible place to visit, because you can find a relatively untouched landscape with a population of folks that still hold true to their traditional beliefs and practices. But being so removed from the rest of the world also has its downsides. There's no doubting that the Tiwis is a spectacular place. It's home to saltwater crocodiles, water buffalo, and countless other wildlife species. Also calling the islands home is a population of around 3,000 mostly Indigenous people. They're confronted by the stark reality of living in one of the most remote locations in the country. The major settlements on the islands are Nuyu, Perlingimpi and Milikapiti. They're tiny towns with barely enough infrastructure to support the locals with necessities like food, medical aid, schooling and recreation. Now I have to stress that what's here is minimal. There's no shopping centres and cafes, no electronic stores or fashion outlets, just a couple of small shops, a post office, police station and a couple of other buildings. But the thing that they see as being a must and don't compromise on is education. Here in Milikapiti, or Mili as the locals know it, there's a great little school that I'm going to be spending the next week at, along with the team from Red Dust.
What's Red Dust's main aim? What are they trying to get out of coming to these communities and helping kids?
It is about health and well-being. That's the crux of everything that we do. Every program, every time we take someone out into the community, it's always about health and well-being. And that's teaching it, that's role modelling it, reminding about it, and simple messages: wash hands, brush teeth, wash your face on a regular routine basis, before eating, after toilet, all that sort of stuff. So some of the kids know that already, and they certainly have that, they have learnt that over their younger years, but sometimes they just need a little bit of a reminder about it, and that's what we're here to do.
We're not yelling them out though, we're going to put our hands up. Next. Carrots. I love carrots.
Excuse me, miss, we've got one, miss.
Cauliflower.
Yeah.
Next time you're at the shop, you can choose a fruit over any junk food. So instead of buying Coke, you might buy water, and instead of buying junk food, you might buy fruit.
We don't mind seeing the kids occasionally having a glass of Coke or a bottle of Coke. We do say it is a sometimes food. Essentially it is. I mean, we're all allowed to have our sometimes foods. I know exactly. I do.
Yeah.
But there is the consistent foods, or the foods that we like to probably embed in them that they need to have every day, and that would be your water, fresh fruit, vegetables, and then the hygiene practices are a daily occurrence as well. So, and here in Milikapiti, where we are at the moment, beautiful Milikapiti, they're very, very good here. Yeah. So we're literally just here to remind them, catch up with them. We've been coming here for over 5 years now, so we've built quite a strong relationship with the community.
And you can notice that when you come here, because the kids will, Red Dust, they know you. Yeah. And I've seen you sitting with the kids and someone comes, "Oh, Sam, remember you, remember me?" Yeah.
The kids here are just like those anywhere else. They're full of life and laughs, oblivious to the ways of the world and simply just looking for fun. And just like the children in big cities or more affluent communities, they deserve the best possible chance in life.
I'm gonna get you!
It's through positive influences and good role models that they will be given a sturdy platform for future development.
I know with Red Dust, the things we're trying to get across to the kids is be active, eat good tucker, and then live longer. Can you explain the live longer part to me?
You know, closing the gap, you've probably heard that term used a lot before. So that's to do with the life expectancy of Indigenous people versus non-Indigenous people. So the gap is about sort of 10 to 15 years still, and even is actually bigger in remote communities.
So that's the gap between like when
what age
dying,
you die,
15 years.
your life expectancy.
Yeah.
So, you know, the average sort of Western person or non-Indigenous person may live, you know, into their 80s or 70s. Here, you know, sort of 60, 65, that sort of thing. So it's, you know, it's literally about promoting health to bridge that gap, to close the gap, essentially. So, yeah.
The issues faced by the people of the Tiwi Islands are similar to those confronting Indigenous and remote communities across other parts of Australia. There are problems with substance abuse, health and social challenges specific to the local culture, plus a lack of employment opportunities and access to healthcare. Compounding all of this is a feeling of isolation. Not so much from being separated by distance from others, but the social gap that exists thanks to the us and them attitude held between white and non-white populations. It's not a matter of pointing the finger and laying blame for the situation, nor is it a case of saying one party is responsible for fixing it. The reality is we all have to come together to find a long-term solution.
So you can really see something improving as opposed to going out to the communities all the time and just being like, wow, it's just not getting through. Here, it's really working.
Definitely. I mean, the kids in Milakarpiti particularly, they're not so much drinking a lot of Coke, they're not so much having lollies at recess and chips at recess. They're really good. They're just happy with having some fruit and you know, just running around. They're not really wanting to have that junk food, and they're really active kids too. They're just, So, yeah, the message is definitely getting through.
The kids clearly enjoy these visits from the Red Dust team. Their faces light up with huge smiles, and they all come to school excited about the day of activities ahead.
2, 3.
The increased school attendance and improved diets are indicators that this type of engagement is successful.
We've just been doing counting, so really simple. Play-Doh. How many Play-Doh shapes can you make? Then kids count them out. Other kids have been doing a bit of spelling, a bit of shapes. What's amazing about the kids out here is when they come to school, they probably speak 2 or 3 different languages already, like the native languages. When they come to school, they learn English. So I can barely speak one language pretty well. And these kids are 4 and 5 years old and already speaking 3. That is impressive.
In the water?
Which one?
You're flying? Is the dinosaur flying? What about Woody?
Life in paradise isn't always perfect, but it can be made a whole lot better just by giving a little to those that need it.
Okay, let's go. Start.
Teamwork between NGOs, communities and also the corporate sector is what enables the likes of Red Dust to engage not only with people in places like the Tiwis, but also show outsiders from the Big Smoke what life is like for Indigenous populations.
And what were you sort of thinking before you came out? Were you a bit apprehensive? Have you been in a community like this before?
No, not at all. Even when you say that about what I was feeling like, just a bit of a wave of anxiety went over me remembering how I was feeling. Yeah, very anxious. No idea what to think. Bit overwhelming about how I'm going to cope with, I guess, you know, behaviours of students that I haven't interacted with before.
Yeah.
So just all of those sorts of things. Yeah.
And how did it turn out? How have you found the kids so far?
Amazing, absolutely amazing.
They're great, aren't they?
You know, they're energetic. That's all I say. Energetic. I think, which is great. I mean, if you have some behavioural things as a result of kids being over energetic, then hey, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me at all. So I've had an excellent time.
I really didn't know what to expect really. It's so far away from home, never sort of been to the Northern Territory before or anywhere this hot. So the first thing was the heat that hit me when I got off the plane. Clearly not used to that back in the UK, used to the rain all the time. And I've never been to a community before, so everything's pretty spread out. I'm not used to all this land.
Yeah. What about the kids?
Oh, the kids are great, yeah. I wasn't expecting them to be so affectionate.
One of the kids actually said to us, I remember you bought us apples.
and that really touched my heart. Actually, it was quite a special moment for them to say, they've remembered us from the fact that we went to the shop and we bought apples. So absolutely.
Just spent time with them and do stuff.
And they're very generous of their time. They want to talk to you, they want to tell you a bit about themselves, and that's really nice.
Is it all nice and gross? You're gonna make a massive mess for Em to clean up. Oh no! Don't throw it! Don't throw it!
I think they're very family orientated. In school they're taught around making smart choices, and they make choices from an early age. So not only is the home there, or their own home there, where they live, it's also in their community. So it's not uncommon for them to spend time in other homes in the community. From what I've seen, the girls seem very grown up at a very young age, and I think that's reflective of the community and how they're perceived in the community around making those choices early.
Yeah. This being your first time in the community, do you feel it's had an effect on you at all?
It's definitely, I guess, removed a lot of the stereotypes I had previously. It's easy to judge through a rose-coloured lens, and without actually coming to see how they live and how they exist within their remote community, it just strips down all of those layers that you've built up over time from hearing things, and it's completely different.
Yeah.
And it's just opened my eyes completely.
Yeah.
And I want to come back up here and spend some time with them again. I mean, sure, there's the things of, it's brilliant for some, personal things to be able to go fishing and all that, but to just interact with the locals here, it's definitely opened up my eyes a lot to the way that they live.
Yeah. You've come out here to help the kids, but they might have also helped you.
Yeah, it's been a completely two-way thing. I'm not expected to get this much out of it, and I feel quite changed at the end of the week.
The islands of the Tiwis are wild and rugged. They're huge expanses of land that are mostly inaccessible and relatively untouched. For that reason, there's an incredible diversity in the flora and fauna found here. From the brolgus in the marshes and the eagles that soar high above, to the huge buffaloes that wander through the countryside and magpie geese and their countless thousands that breed in the wetlands. It's a truly spectacular place. The coastal fringes of the islands are just as harsh and beautiful as the interior. The rich red hues of the cliffs contrast with the white clay and green tree line above, creating a stunning effect.
Let's go fishing. I'm going to try and catch some barramundi just down here. I tell you what, you haven't truly experienced the Tiwi Islands unless you spend about half an hour in a car with about 10 little girls singing Chris Brown. That is intense. Intense. I mean, look at this view. This is fantastic. Any crocs? You sure? All right then.
Education starts in the schoolyard, but it continues at home and in the outdoors. So today I'm heading bush, where the kids will teach me a thing or two. The lessons learned out here are really practical and just as relevant as doing maths or English. They're a whole lot more fun too.
So while Mark's chucking that out, you've got the kids on the beach. They've all got sticks and they're getting mud crabs. Well, I think they're called mud crabs. Big shell, big pincers at the front, little paddles at the back. I reckon if they can start a fire up there, they'll cook them as well. Nice little bit of feed to have while we're fishing. Now the sun's come out, Mark's going to see straight through this water. We'll find the spot of mullet, get some bait, head back up there and do some fishing. It's not a bad way to spend an afternoon at school.
I found a jellyfish.
What sort of jellyfish? Is there a stinger one?
Yeah, it'll sting you really, really bad. Yeah,
really?
Still there.
How did you guys see that and I didn't?
It's a box jellyfish. I'm getting out.
I'm getting out too. I've just been walking around the water and there's a box jellyfish just there. If you don't know what box jellyfish is, it's got like a parachute head with tentacles off it. Its sting is so bad it can kill you. Like it's just so painful. You pretty much just want to die, go to coma, and you still scream. And you're in the water. I'm getting out of the water. You guys are tough. That was a box jellyfish. So that's what stung a little boy and he died. And you guys are in the water.
No, but I have lots of it. Hello, I just took Ashley to go get some shrimp, some oysters and saved his life from a jellyfish.
Yep, she saved my life again.
And bye-bye.
It's twice you've saved my life today.
I need to go stand this way so I can get...
Time for some fishing, and let's hope we're successful, because I am starving, and they tell me what we catch, we're having for dinner.
Ready to go? 1.
Hang on the reel, hold it tight. Go. Oh no!
One thing the kids seem fearless of is crocodiles. This part of the country is full of them, yet the kids don't appear to be at all concerned. I know I was. I guess when you're confronted with wild encounters every day, you get desensitised to it. This has been such an eye-opening experience. To see red dust at work and be part of a program that improves children's health is something I'll always remember. That and the smiling faces of the kids.